Hi there, I'm Vincent Boss and I provide dating and self-improvement advice. And in today's podcast, we're going to be discussing stages your ex goes through before reaching out. I provide audio coaching to help people try and get their ex back or get a new girlfriend or boyfriend. Check out my website for more details. www.dateme.tips. Please check your spam and junk folders if you are expecting an email from me. So now let's get back into today's podcast, and today we are discussing stages your ex goes through before reaching out. So if you have gone through a breakup, it's very natural for you to be wondering if and when your ex might reach out to you. In today's podcast, I'm going to be giving you 3 points to consider when we answer the question of what stages does an ex need to go through before reaching out. So let's get straight into this, and point number 1 is Dumpee. So first of all, we're going to be speaking about the Dumpee and the stages that they go through before reaching out. So if you are a Dumpee and you want to know what stages your dumper will go through before reaching out, then please keep listening. I will get to these points very, very soon. But for now, we're going to discuss the Dumpee and the Dumpee's journey about if and when they might reach out to their ex, the dumper. Now, in this instance, we have to, of course, understand the concept of exactly what is going on. A relationship has ended, somebody has become the dumper, and hence there is a Dumpee. Now, the Dumpee didn't want the relationship to end, and therefore they're in a position where they feel like the rug has been pulled out beneath them. They did not want this relationship to end. They are feeling like their feelings are not being listened to. They're likely confused, hurt, upset, and shocked. Therefore, the stages that a Dumpee goes through before reaching out to their dumper are very, very quick. In essence, a Dumpee wants to reach out to their ex instantaneously. The vast majority of Dumpees do not want to stop contacting their ex. They don't want the relationship to end, and they believe that if they stop contacting their ex, then this will signify they've accepted the breakup, and therefore, in their opinion, during this time where their mindset is muddled and clouded, they believe that they must hold on to the relationship by continuing to reach out to their dumper. Now, of course, for those of you who have listened to my previous podcasts, you will understand that this concept is very unlikely to work from the perspective of the Dumpee. If you are a dumper and you end a relationship, it is because you are feeling a very low level of romantic emotional attraction for your now former partner. And therefore, the last thing you want at this time is for your Dumpee to keep contacting you, to keep chasing you, to not listen to what you are saying, and in essence, to hold on to a relationship which you no longer feel comfortable being in. If you are a dumper, you are wanting to move on your own journey, and even though this may or may not end up the way you are planning right now, you are certainly not wanting your ex-Dumpee to continue to chase you, message you, phone you, knock on your door, and just not listen. So therefore, if a Dumpee behaves in the way that they feel natural, they are actually decreasing the chance of their ex-dumper changing their mind because they are pushing their dumper further away. The more the Dumpee chases, the further the dumper is likely to go away. So when we consider the stages that a Dumpee goes through before they reach out to their ex, it is instantaneous. It's the first stage. They don't believe that the relationship has even truly ended. They believe they can persuade their dumper to stay in this connection. And hence, really, we just look at one stage. The stage is they've been told the relationship is over and they are ignoring this. They are trying to reason, they are trying to plead, they are trying to beg. All of the things which come across as low value, all of the things which are unlikely to help their cause, this is what the Dumpee does. Now, if a Dumpee wants to try to get their ex back, in essence what they must do is move forward on their own journey. They must accept the breakup and do the hardest thing, which is to never contact their ex again unless their dumper contacts them first. Now, this doesn't come easy, and if you want more support with this, you might want to consider my audio coaching service. More details can be found on my website, www.dateme.tips. Additionally, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Check out all of the content that I have, where I cover this topic from all different perspectives and angles. But when we consider the question of today, what stages does somebody go through before they want to contact their ex? Well, if you're the dumpee, the stage is stage 1. It's just straight away you move from being broken up with to continuing to contact your ex unless you understand that it is going to be detrimental, and hence the dumpee should in fact be moving forward on their own journey and waiting for their dumper to contact them. Does this often happen? No. Should they be doing this? Yes. It will increase your chance of success, and even though there is no 100% guaranteed way to get your ex back, even though nothing works 100% of the time and nothing fails 100% of the time, what we can say is that if you are a dumpee and you continue to chase your ex, you will have a very low chance of success. And if you move forward on your own journey and implement my version of a no contact rule, you will increase your chance of one day hearing from your dumper again. So now let's get into point number 2 and the second point of today's podcast about stages your ex goes through before reaching out. And point number 2 is dumper first stages. So now we're going to be looking from the perspective of the dumper and if and when they will reach out to their dumpee, but we're looking at the first stages that the dumper will go through. And initially, the stages that a dumper will go through is experiencing the single honeymoon period. So when somebody ends a relationship and becomes a dumper, they are feeling unfulfilled in that relationship, and therefore they have an idea of a life they would like to live outside of this relationship. I refer to this as the single honeymoon period. This is a period of time where the dumper will live the life that they couldn't do in a relationship. This might be doing activities and hobbies that their former partner didn't like. Maybe it's activities and hobbies that their former partner didn't mind, but maybe within the connection, they just didn't have time to do these activities and hobbies. That can be something. Additionally, things which are more obvious, such as dating other people. If you're in a relationship, it's very unlikely that your partner will approve of you dating other people. So, of course, if you are a dumper and you want to go off on your own journey, this might be something that you want to do. You might want to meet new people. You might want to go to parties, clubs. You might want to be doing things which you couldn't do within your previous connection. This is the single honeymoon period, and this is a very important stage that a dumper must go through for them to consider to reach out to their ex. If you're a dumpee listening to this, you might be thinking, well, if they're living this kind of life, why on earth would they then decide to possibly contact me? Well, look, we have to say this. There is no 100% guaranteed way to get your ex back. There is no guarantee that you will hear from your ex again. But what we can say is that if you do everything right as a dumpee, there is every chance that you will one day hear from your dumper again. And I will be getting to that a little bit further on in today's podcast when we get into the later stages of the situation. But for now, the stage the dumper must go through is experience the single honeymoon period. They must go through this stage whilst also understanding themselves, learning about themselves, really realising what it's like to be them as a singleton. We sometimes lose our identity somewhat in a relationship. And of course, this isn't healthy, but it is something which unfortunately happens to lots of people. And the dumper will likely be finding out who they are again, learning who they are during this new time period of being single. They have, of course, gotten older since they was last single. They're in new stages of their life. These are the things they need to be experiencing whilst going through the single honeymoon period. This is an important moment, an important stage for one day possibly contacting their dumpee. So now let's get into point number 3 and the final point of today's podcast about stages your ex goes through before reaching out. And point number 3 is dumper end stage. So now we are focusing on the point after the single honeymoon period. And this is because that eventually everything which is new becomes old. Things which seemed exciting don't seem to have that same tinge of happiness, excitement and fulfillment that they once did. If you do something too much, it doesn't feel as great as it once did. That is why people say everything in moderation. Now, once the single honeymoon period is ended, this is when a dumper will be more susceptible to regret and missing their dumpee. So you might be thinking, well, how long does the single honeymoon period last? Well, how long is a piece of string? Unfortunately, there is no definitive time frame. But from my research, I would suggest that it is generally at least 6 months. Generally speaking, a dumper will need at least 6 months to experience the life that they felt they couldn't do within the relationship. Now, if and when they get out of this single honeymoon period, this is when they'll be more likely to think back to their previous relationship with the dumpee. And the reason for this is because they are very unlikely to be in a new long-term relationship. It's very challenging to meet somebody that you are long-term compatible with. And hence, after 6 months, it's not likely that a dumper would have met somebody new that they're going to live with for the rest of their life. They might have dated casually. They might have got into a rebound, which has quickly burned out, but they are unlikely to be with their forever partner. Unfortunately for dumpees, we have to say that, of course, there are always exceptions to the rule, but generally speaking, relationship to relationship, long-term relationship to long-term relationship is normally at least a year, possibly even up to 2-3 years, and therefore 6 months or so, it's very unlikely that a dumper would have met somebody new that they are going to be with for the long term. So once they get through the single honeymoon period and they are still single, they will realise, but it's hard being a singleton. It's not easy. And they will reflect on their past. They will think of their dumpee and they will understand that there is a possibility that they made a mistake. The dumpee really loved them, and now they are feeling no love at all from anybody else. This can be very powerful, and this type of reflection can lead a dumper to reach out to their dumpee. It can raise intrigue, it can raise romantic emotional attraction, and these are the things necessary for a dumper to decide to reach out. Additionally, the longer the time goes by, the more triggers there will be which remind the dumper of their ex. And of course, the more triggers that happen, the more opportunities there are for the dumper to think of their dumpee and think to themselves, you know what, I possibly made a mistake. The fading effect bias also works in the dumpee's favour, and this is the theory that positive memories remain longer in somebody's mind compared to negative memories. The fading effect bias showcases that negative memories fade sooner over time, they lose their value over time, much sooner than positive memories, and hence if a dumper looks back, they won't forget about what has happened, but they will see negative moments in a lot less powerful light compared to the great memories they once shared with their ex. And this shows the stages that a dumper must go through to potentially reach out to their dumpee once more, because if they grow enough romantic emotional attraction, if they feel enough intrigue, if they've lived a life which showcases it's so hard to find happiness, they will reflect and quite possibly decide that it's time to contact their ex and see if reconciliation is possible. If you believe that this podcast has helped you, then please consider buying me a coffee. The link to do so is in the description.
Yeah, if you miss your ex, we can help with that. Help you get him back, or we can help find you someone else. Yeah, Vincent Bo, the relationship coach, giving you some insight, bringing you a new approach. DateMe.tips, go and check the site, giving you advice, helping with your love life. Get your ex back, or move to the next. Ain't no sweat, you know Vincent Bo got you. Finding love ain't no problem. Yeah, DateMe.tips, check it out now.